Okay, fantastic. Thank you again for being here, everyone, and for showing up to this metta and this wholesome wholesomeness practice, really. So, one thing that I'm just loving from Kriester's meditations and the sharing that's happening in the Q&As is just the heartfeltness that MIDL meditators practice. It's so inspiring. It's really unique, and it is what the Buddha taught. So it's really beautiful to watch, to see, and to be able to participate and practice with you all. And one of the reasons, another reason why I love these like wholesome hours is they do support our insight practice and our MIDL practice. And also, there is like an infinite number of ways that we can be creative with wholesomeness and practicing wholesome attitudes and cultivating wholesome states of minds and of our hearts. So this practice is immeasurable. We say that the Brahma Viharas are immeasurable because there's no limit to how we can cultivate them and integrate them into our life. So today's session, I wanted to be still traditional, but a little bit more playful to see how we can um, utilize our curiosity that we bring to our practice, that we really emphasize in MIDL, and the playfulness of that curiosity, and use it to enhance and deepen our practice of metta. So hopefully this is a little enjoyable today. Hopefully, we'll see. Um, and what was coming up for me in the sharings and in my own practice is I wanted to, I think about, I only have so many metta sessions with you all on this retreat and in sessions in general. So I'm like, okay, if there's one thing that I want to share with you all today, if this is the only metta that I could share with you, this is the last metta session that I would share with you, what would I want to share with you? And it really comes back to, for me, metta for oneself, loving kindness, and this unconditional positive regard for oneself. I think that's so important in the path, and it's really quite challenging for a lot of us. And so, if we can take this opportunity to play with metta for ourselves and see and kind of experiment, what I'd like to do is kind of experiment with different ways of entering that space to see how maybe we can get more familiarity with that loving attitude towards ourself. So, um, we are going to do a meditation like usual, and in this meditation, what we're going to do is we're going to scaffold the loving kindness. And that's the whole point actually of doing the traditional phrases in kind of an easy to difficult uh, progression, right? The Buddha was one of the, if not the most skillful teachers in humanity. So as a public school teacher, I really resonate with the way that he taught a gradual path, that he showed that you can start with just where you are at and learn how to grow slowly with patience over time, how we can grow our heart. And when we do that, um, we see the progress in the path, and it builds more momentum and more skillfulness and more confidence in the path. And MIDL is really, I know you all notice this, but MIDL really also is built upon that method of momentum, building confidence based on working with where we're at. And so, as a teacher, when my students have this project that we have to do, it might be 6 weeks in the future, and it's kind of complicated. There might be multiple parts to the project. I have to help them learn multiple skills to get to that point. But we just work backward and we identify and kind of break up the skills and chunk it. Basically, we chunk the skills, and so we just take a little chunk at a time and we practice that. We get better with that, and then it gets easier to open ourselves and get a little bit more outside our comfort zone and practice with that. And that's what we're doing with these metta um, practices, and with practicing from easy to more difficult, because the project or the end goal that we're working towards with these Brahma Viharas is that we have unconditional loving kindness for all living beings. So that's a lot. That's a lot. And if we start there, it can easily be like, well, I can't even love myself. How are we gonna get there? So it's like we start small, we start where we're at, we start where it's easy, and then we grow and work our way outward. But we build our confidence, and it is possible. We can grow outward in that direction. So we're gonna play with that. And we're going to know that that's the direction that we're headed. We're headed towards the direction of loving kindness for all living beings, uh, without any conditions to that loving kindness. But we'll start where we're at. And so to start, I'll just explain what we're going to do, and then I'll guide it in a way where we'll have some time to really let go of the guidance and play with the instructions in our own heart, and feel into it for ourselves. But what we're going to do is we are going to start easy. So we will bring to mind an easy being. And this can be a pet, it can be a young kid or a baby, maybe a very close friend that you've known for a long time. Someone though that you have like a very uncomplicated relationship with. So the sense of friendliness and love and care, it just kind of flows out of you very easily. Like it doesn't take effort almost. It's like as soon as we bring that being to our mind, to our heart mind, it's just yes. It's just almost instant. Like, yes, I love this being. I wish for their happiness. So we'll start there, and 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 part of what's beautiful about the path of liberation is that these wholesome qualities, this loving kindness, it feels good. So we'll keep our um, background of our awareness grounded in our body, like we did the other day, and we'll allow our attention to rest on this being and this wish for this being, for their happiness. And we'll notice the way that that wish kind of just radiates this peaceful, pleasant feeling in our body. So we'll stay there for a little while. And then, so that's the easy being. So now, usually in the suttas, one's easy being is oneself. So we're going to start even easier, knowing that maybe it's hard for ourselves. The next thing that we're going to do is I want us to imagine or bring to mind a person who we have felt loved by. So maybe it's a benefactor or a mentor, and we're going to imagine that they are wishing us well. So maybe we can recall a time of when they did that. Maybe they gave us a gift. Maybe they showed up for us in our life when they celebrated our accomplishments. Maybe they helped us through a hard time. And I want us to try to open to their love and their loving kindness. Almost feeling, yeah, like we're being receptive to the feeling of metta and receiving the metta. Okay, so it might be really easy to do that. Or you might notice there's a little bit of resistance to it. And that's okay if you notice that. If you notice that, all we'll do is we'll apply our Gauss formula. So we'll notice that there's resistance. We feel it in our body. It's coming up on its own. And we'll just soften and relax the resistance to receiving this loving kindness from this person. And I'm pretty sure I was thinking about like, you know, I'm pretty sure most of us have been in a situation like this where, if you ever are out to eat with maybe a family member, a colleague, or a friend, and at the end of the meal, you get the bill, and there's like, oh, I'll get the bill. And then the person who you're with, who, you just enjoy their company, they're like, no, I want the bill. I want to treat you. And then there's this like back and forth between, no, I really need to treat you the meal. And there's like a little bit of a resistance in terms of like, well, I would rather be the one to pay for the dinner rather than receive the dinner, right? And it's really silly and funny. And maybe we win the bill sometimes and we get to pay and we get to be generous and that feels good. But at least once, probably, there's been a time when we do finally accept that gift. We say, okay, I surrender. I accept. I accept you treating me to lunch. I accept this holiday gift. I accept this birthday present. Maybe initially I was like, no, I don't want that, or it's too much, you're too kind. But eventually we say, okay, I will receive this. And we receive it, when we receive it and open our heart to it, and we kind of soften the resistance to that, we notice that it's actually easier to receive. It's actually easier to receive the gift than to struggle and push the gift away. And that ease we can feel that ease of softening in our body. We can feel the way it cascades into our body and our mind. And it's actually, we can see from that example, and through practice, we can practice receiving loving kindness. It's something that if you do have a hard time with it, it's something that we can practice in our seated practice and throughout the day. And we'll stay there just receiving metta. When we receive metta, it's very receptive, it's very open, it's very light, it's very nourishing. We'll receive that in our body. And then we'll stay there for a little while. And then, now that we know what it's like to receive the metta, we'll try sending metta to ourselves. So we'll try then say, now that maybe there's a little bit less of a barrier to receiving the metta and to giving the metta to ourselves, we'll say, okay, may I be happy now. And notice what it's like to give ourselves happiness and receive it at the same time. And notice if there's still a resistance, we can again just relax, soften that resistance. But hopefully we might notice it's easier after we've let ourselves receive it. I've noticed that in my experience that's true. That my ability to receive metta is also correlates, or is a correlate to how much I'm willing to give metta, both to myself and to other people, right? So we'll play with that and see, and then we can, if we have time, we can do, I think we'll have time, we can do a neutral being and a difficult being. And again, that the reason why we do neutral and difficult is so that we can grow. So we can grow our heart. Notice, okay, is there any resistance? Is there any aversion to giving this to a neutral being? Can I soften and relax those conditions? Noticing again, it's easier to share this wish with others than to hold on to conditions. It's actually more tiring. It's actually too much effort to try to withhold the metta or make it that certain people have to qualify. So we'll feel that in ourselves, and then maybe it'll be easier to do it for other people. And then we'll conclude with our metta chant. Okay, sound good? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and find a comfortable seat. Being kind to ourselves if you've been sitting all day or you just woke up. Making maybe another adjustment for yourself to be comfortable. Allowing your eyes to close. Just checking in with yourself. Seeing what you notice as we open to our internal experience. Giving our body permission to relax. Feeling the muscles around our eyes soften. Allowing our jaw to unclench. Giving our shoulders permission to put down any burden might be carrying. Feeling them slide down our back. Perhaps noticing the touch of our legs or feet against the ground. Connecting us with the support of Mother Earth. Feeling our hips connecting in our seat or our cushion. Recognizing that even if there's tightness in the body or we're feeling difficult emotions, there's lots of thinking, the body is still arising effortlessly. There's a stability and stillness that we can access through letting our awareness and mindfulness ground within the body. and we don't have to create it. It's already arising on its own. So we can put down any extra effort, enjoying, relaxing into its presence. And in fact, it's an act of metta, it's an act of love to let go of the worry, of the thinking, of the forgetting. It's an act of love to allow our mind to rest in this embodied presence. Giving ourselves permission to enjoy letting go, enjoying just resting for a moment in our body without rush. And so, from this foundation of mindfulness, with our body as an anchor, we can bring to the forefront of our mind an easy being, a being that we know well and that we love without effort. Maybe you picture them, or maybe you just feel their presence. But as we bring them to mind, we can wish them well. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you have a life of ease. Allowing this contentment and wholesomeness from these wishes to further ground and stabilize our background awareness as we rest our attention with these wishes. And of course, if you notice your mind drifting to thoughts of worry, of the past or future, that's great that you're noticing, that you're mindful, seeing it happen on its own. You can relax that extra effort in following those thoughts, letting our heart rest with the metta for this being that we deeply care for. And mindfulness returns, celebrating it, enjoying letting go of that distraction or that thought. And enjoying allowing the heart to come back to your beloved one, being with them. So we can feel the strength and the depth of this unconditional loving kindness. It's so strong, so loving. So we can recognize that at one point others have wished the same love for us, bringing to mind perhaps someone you felt loved by, a teacher, a benefactor, a mentor, family member, friend. We can imagine that now we are their beloved, that they are looking at us with their heart full, overflowing with this unconditional positive regard for us. And we can bask within this loving energy, receiving it, opening to it, accepting it, enjoying it. If you're having a hard time imagining someone, we can use our imagination and picture Buddha looking at us with this loving heart, softening, letting go of any extra effort, pushing away, or creating conditions, surrendering and opening our heart to it instead. We can use the phrases to help steady and anchor our mind if that's useful. Visualizing them saying, "May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe and protected. May you have a life of ease." Receiving. Beautiful thing about these teachers or mentors or family members' love is that it's unconditional. They loved us when we made a mistake. They loved us in every situation. Whatever conditions we place on our own self-love, they don't have those. They love us, including all the ways that we feel we are unlovable. Allowing that unconditionality to penetrate our heart. We are their dear one. So now, having given unconditional love to our beloved and having received that love, let's now try to give that love back to ourselves. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. And may I have a life of ease. Noticing that this metta has the same boundlessness as the other two. Same flavor. Receiving and giving. Showing us, this metta shows us where we can let go, the ways we judge ourselves, the ways we critique ourselves, compare. We can let all of that go. Maybe we find that it's hard to let that go. Can we love ourselves in that way too? Loving ourselves as we are, completely. And then for time's sake, we will just do one more category. And we'll think of maybe someone that can bother us, or someone that we know we have a difficult time with. Seeing if we can soften and let go of the ways that we judge them, allowing this metta to extend to them, wishing them well. May they be happy. May they be healthy. May they be safe. May they have a life of ease. Perhaps noticing if it's a little easier to love them due to your practice. So beginning to relax our attention, coming back into the body, feeling our whole presence sitting here. And noticing the resonance of the metta in your body and mind. The wholesomeness of it. How it can be trusted. That we can trust this metta for ourselves. And then when you're ready, you can begin to invite movement into your body. And then slowly beginning to open our eyes. Let me share my screen. And I thought just for funsies, I'll just sing it instead of playing the recording. Sometimes I notice I'm kind of harsh on myself around my singing. So that's why I want myself to do it. 'Cause I'm like a little judgy about my singing. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna share this. Can you see my screen? Okay. Okay, great. Okay. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Buddham Pujami Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Dhammam Pujami Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Sangam Pujami Aham Awaro Homi Abhya Pajo Homi Anigo Homi Sukhiyatanang Pariharami Mama Mata Pitu Acharya Cha Natamita Cha Sabrahmacharino Cha Awera Hontu Abhya Paja Hontu Aniga Hontu Sukhiyatanang Pariharantu Imasming Arame Sabe Yogino Awera Hontu Abhya Paja Hontu Aniga Hontu Sukhiyatanang Pariharantu Amakakang Araka Dewata Imasming Vihare Imasming Awase Imasming Arame Araka Dewata Awera Hontu Abhya Paja Hontu Aniga Hontu Sukhiyatanang Pariharantu Sabe Sata Sabe Pana Sabe Buddha Sabe Pugala Sabe Atabawa Pariyapana Saba Itio Sabe Purisa Sabe Iti Purisa Sabe Anita Purisa Sabe Arya Sabe Anarya Sabe Dewa Sabe Manusa Sabe Winipatika Awera Hontu Abhya Paja Hontu Aniga Hontu Sukhiyatanang Pariharantu Dukkha Muchantu Yata Lada Sampatito Mawiganchantu Kamasaka Idang no Pudam Bhagam Sabha Satanang Bhajema Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day, enjoy your evening, and enjoy your retreat and your practice. Be well. Thank you so much.